Why is it locked?
Because it's in my garage, I just locked it.
You locked it and it's up in the air.
That's actually a really good point. Nobody's...
What are you doing? God!
So... Matt has arrived to rescue my incompetent former engineering self with this Shelby 350R project. Matt to the rescue, thank you. He's unloading some tools. He optimistically thinks that we can get everything done. So taken off, installed again with the carbon fiber between today and tomorrow. I hope that can happen, obviously because I want to drive my car soon, but there's a lot to do. I briefed Matt on the current status of everything. We took a look at some of the parts, talked about some of the things we needed to buy to make things fit, and what is that?
It's a saw.
What is that for?
We have to take things off the car. Yeah.
It can't be it can't be broken if it's not on the car. What? No, we're not using the saw on the car for anything.
It'll come off easier that way.
The entire rear, we're gonna start with the rear bumper. We're gonna take that off. The car will come down for the side skirts. Front bumper will come off. He's got some sort of plan in mind already. He's got the experience, the skills. He just told me about how he took apart his entire door to get the mirrors for the new puddle lamps and all that type of shenanigans. So we will do time-lapse video of us doing the stuff. Again, this is not intended to be a full DIY step-by-step instruction video. That's just not what I can do because there's gonna be a lot of swearing and mistakes and me sitting around as Matt figures things out. So we'll do time-lapse, we'll periodically update for status updates, but let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. Step one, we pulled this lining in the trunk back. The taillights will come out and the rear bumper comes off. The rear bumper is off. We made sure the electrical connectors were disconnected, a bunch of clips. It's scary. You have to use more force than you think you should. It makes kind of concerning noises, but you're just popping all these clips out. But look at that. The rear bumper is entirely off. That is, taillights obviously came off. We did loosen a couple screws on this little, I don't even know what to call this, like a bracket thingy.
It's like a bumper brace.
Bumper brace. Didn't need to, so we're putting that back on. But look, the bumper is off. We'll disconnect these side markers. We're gonna replace those real quick. Attach the rear diffuser. Finish up this part. Stock side reflectors are off. We've got the new smoked ones in. There we go, that'll look nice, clean. LED side lights. Same thing the other side. This is really easy, just has this connector. You pinch that, it pops out, and you snap it right in. That's
a little
better.
DIY with that. For mine, I actually kept it on the car.
Oh.
And you can reach underneath
right in there
and pop it off.
Okay, so you don't have to pull the bumper.
Take the bumper off.
Okay. It is doable, but we had the bumper off anyway.
It's good you did it because one of yours is broken.
Yes, actually I can show that. It probably came off when this car was wrapped in its history, but look, that tab is completely broken. So.
And they're very flimsy.
They are.
Make sure you do it once or twice and that's it.
Quick trip to Home Depot for some hardware, and we have all the parts on the carbon well, most of the parts on the carbon diffuser. The exhaust tip surrounds are mounted. This required drilling, so we center punched it, then pilot drill, and then the actual drill bit, and then...
Not my finest work, but
it works. I broke that, so yeah, I torqued a little too much. That broke, but it has
four out of 6.
We didn't bother with the one underneath here because these 4 attached, it's pretty sturdy. Like this isn't moving anywhere at all, independent of the carbon diffuser itself. This is attached on the rear light assembly. Next up, we gotta fix my mistake of ripping the wires out. So we'll solder up, fix that up. And then this entire carbon diffuser assembly will go onto the rear bumper and then back onto the car. And hopefully the rear end will be complete by early this afternoon. Fingers crossed. It is just past midnight, and after a lot of challenges and hurdles, the rear bumper is on with the new diffuser.
I'm 11 minutes late.
Yeah, well, There was.
I said the rear bumper would be on yesterday.
By the end of yesterday, yes. Let me show you guys. The new side reflectors are on. We did verify that the replacement reverse bulb works. Getting these exhaust surrounds installed onto the carbon fiber piece was also really difficult. Took a lot of fabricating, drilling new holes. We bought new fasteners to get these, but they center pretty nicely. They ended up fitting, but again, a lot of essentially custom work needed to be done to modify the carbon piece in order to fit. This rear bumper did get it suffered a little wear and tear. Pretty big scratch right here on the vinyl stripe. Obviously that can't be fixed, and I am getting all of this paint corrected because, yeah, it sat here on and off at least 4 or 5 times. Then getting this bumper to fit up against this body line, just OEM is already pretty bad. I mean, it's a Mustang at the end of the day. So we got it pretty much, I would say this is OEM, Matt, right?
It's very close.
Yeah, it's pretty much OEM fit.
They're notorious for having bad bumper fit.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
There was a technical service bulletin to help try to fix some of this, but the fender liner's in, all the bolts are on. We are technically done with the back of the vehicle. I apologize for not recording more of this. Honestly, it was just frustration and struggles and trying to solve the problems. We did have some GoPros running with some time lapse, but I was just so focused on trying to get this figured out. A little bit frustrated. We didn't stop to just film and talk about things, but the rear diffuser is on with the bumpers back on. So tomorrow is front bumper off and those pieces back on, splitters coming off, all of that, and then we'll drop the car down, do the side skirts. But it's past midnight, we are tired. We're gonna call it a night tonight and we'll pick this back up tomorrow. Day 2. The back end is officially complete. Last night actually we discovered that we forgot to plug in a connector for the entire rear wiring harness. So the rear reflectors and the reverse light didn't work, which did mean most of the rear bumper had to come apart again. It was past midnight. I sent Matt home and I couldn't go to sleep. So I essentially took it all off by myself. Reconnected that harness by shoving my hand back into the bumper. It hurt a little bit, but I got it reconnected, then put it all back together, and then went to sleep at 2 o'clock. Now, we're starting again on the front.
Why is it locked?
Because it's in my garage, I just locked it.
You locked it and it's up in the air.
That's actually a really good point. Nobody's...
What are you doing? God!
So, the front end is coming off today. So, wheel liner, this front bumper, will come off and all these pieces are going to get replaced. I have no idea how this is gonna go, but I guess we'll find out.
About as good as the rear, or better.
The rear was a nightmare.
No, was it?
Yes, it was. We had the diffuser connected to the rear bumper at 2 p.m. and at 2 a.m. it was complete technically.
Are you gonna be like this all day?
I'm a little grumpy right now. I haven't had coffee yet, but it looks nice from this angle. We're stepping back. There we go. It's on and it looks pretty cool. The new side reflectors, smoked out, carbon fiber. Worth the effort? I'm still deciding it right now. I'm still deciding if this was worth it.
Get some rollers and then you'll decide.
Yeah, B-roll once it's shiny and cleaned. All right. We removed the entire wheel liner. And now we can look inside here. We got some coolers, and here, you see that's a brake duct cooler that vents right through. I can see daylight through my wheel well. Suspension's up here. So this was secured by a bunch of clips, and it's just easier to pull the entire wheel liner out. Factory R spoiler removed, bunch of bolts and Torx bits, and now we've got the carbon fiber one. Look at that, same replacement size, but you don't have the Shelby lettering. I'm presuming that might be like a copyright type of thing. We've got these sort of annoying tabs again, but it reuses a lot of the mounting hardware. So there's a bolt that goes in through there, just like on that one. All right, but we need to remove the bumper first, right? This can go on last probably.
Yeah, theoretically.
Yeah, we'll do it last. Time for the bumper to come off. I am the most excited I have been since I first foolishly thought that just removing the rear diffuser was going to make that work. The bumper just came off and it actually went really, really well. There's a bunch of bolts on top and below. The factory splitter came off the bumper first, just made it easier to access some things. There are 2 bolts right here by the headlights. These are really hard to get to. They're important. For some reason, everything has been metric except for there's 2 here. They were 7/32. Everything else has been metric. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is just unique to my car or something. Or Ford is just messing with us. But now my Shelby 350R no longer has a face. That is off. We will transfer carbon to replace those pieces. We're making good time so far. Man, this looks weird.
Bumper delete.
Bumper delete. Weight savings.
We have a decision to make. These front fascia pieces, just like the diffuser and just like what Anderson Composites says, requires a lot of modification, essentially fabrication work, re-drilling holes, dremeling out resin to get it to fit on the body panels where it at least resembles the OEM fit and finish. We don't have a massive gap. And we're looking at it, we pulled off a bunch of stuff off the bumper, which is a pain. These like clips that hold pieces into the bumper are not easy to get out. It's, oh man, we're both exhausted. This is actually gonna take a lot. So, I think what we might do is put the carbon splitter on and leave some of those trim pieces the way they are right now.
We have this piece kind of put in, but a lot of this fitment here along that, they're just these little tabs. It's gonna take a lot of finessing, is the PG word to use here, to make it fit. Yeah, same thing with this turn signal, the bezel here. Yeah, I'm forgetting all the words. My brain's not working anymore. There's gonna be a lot. Like, you have to actually...
There's a clip here on this side. You actually have to kind of...
And we have to drill here again for those fasteners.
There's the other one you have to drill.
The OEM plastic, obviously just send them in.
Like these pins here, you kind of have to almost put them in this way and this way, and they don't quite fit.
So this would look really cool. You can see like carbon, that's the plastic. Like, but on the other side, if we're looking at it here, if I leave this piece plastic, and that, but still do the carbon splitter, what happens on the car is we have all the lower aero and carbon. So splitter down here, we will do the side skirts, no matter what, and then the diffuser around back, we'll have that all carbon, because obviously up here I still have gloss black, the mirrors are still gloss black, this piece is still the black plastic. The hood, obviously I'm not touching anything on the hood. So I'm leaning towards, we're gonna swap out the indicators here. We'll change those to the new lights. One of them is hanging out right here. This looks a lot nicer from Op 7. And then we'll leave these OEM for now. We will put the splitter on. We'll get the splitter to fit for sure. And then down the road, once I have it on the car and I have these in satin carbon, maybe I'll change my mind and add these, and then we'll just pull the bumper off again with more time and more resources and friends to help. Right now, status change, plan change. We're gonna leave these factory for now just because, man, I need to get this car together. I gotta drive back to Michigan on Sunday too. So does Matt. We don't quite have all the time to fabricate. This project, you must dedicate a lot of time.
Matt was just saying, you need a lot of time, or get somebody to do it for you, somebody who has experience fabricating stuff, a body shop, somebody installing this stuff. I mean, I've got no skills. Matt's got a lot of skills, but it's taking a lot of time, and it does take a lot of customization. So that is the true fact of it. Trying to DIY it yourself, unless you're really, really skilled and experienced,
you can do it.
You can. We got the diffuser to fit. It took a day. So we just don't have another whole day to do the front end and the side skirts. That's the plan. We will go from there now. I'm deciding that on camera, Matt. I've decided.
Good.
All right, so we've got the carbon fiber splitter on the bumper. Fitment is decent. Took a little bit of modifying the clips. Had to Dremel out to get the clips in. There are 4 screws that hold that in. Even the factory one, the fitment, if you look really closely, there will be a little gap with the bumper. And that honestly looks pretty good. Matt and I think it's good enough to start putting together. We're gonna put it onto the vehicle. There are 2 more screws that will likely need a little bit of drilling into the carbon to make those clips fit. But that'll be the front end going onto the car. So we did make the decision. We're keeping this, yes, turn signals are on too. We're keeping that black plastic here, the factory parts around the turn signal, but this lower splitter now is carbon. It actually looks really nice. The entire belly pan had to come off from underneath the Shelby, and that attached into the front diffuser, which is now, not front diffuser, front splitter,
which is now attached pretty well. Oh, the sun didn't really want me to show you there. You see a little bit of light seeing through, but that's pretty much OEM, and once it's on the car from an upper angle, I don't think you'll be able to see it. What was really difficult is these little screws here, like all those, to get to them, you have to like pry the diffuser off because there's no access point on the underside of the Anderson Composites carbon one, just these Torx bits that went in. So servicing this is going to be pretty much impossible. You have to like disassemble the whole thing again. So I hope I never have to do that, knock on wood.
So for clarification,
yeah,
the OEM one,
yes,
there were ports for those
yes
to bolt in.
Yes.
Also, with the OEM way, you're supposed to pull the splitter off first, then take the bumper apart from the splitter, or from the belly pan. The problem we have is that because the aftermarket one has all these tabs that you have to like bend, there is no way to put the splitter on last without having a heck of a time trying to get it to be flush as possible. So the only way we could actually put those 6 bolts in is by reaching our hand in between the the front diffuser and the belly pan to kind of try and finagle them in, and our hands are all beat up.
Yeah, I'm like shredding my hands, and
it was not the way to do it, but it was the only way we could. So
it was. It's not the OEM way to do it, but again, none of these parts are OEM, and Anderson Composites discloses that parts will need modification, different fasteners, adjustment, essentially fabrication to get it to fully fit. But we're at the point now where this is going to go onto the front of the car. We'll secure the bumper, connect all the lights, connectors. We'll make sure to do that because last time I made one mistake. But we'll put that all on, close the hood, and hopefully the front bumper and splitter will be on with the new turn signals too. And then we'll be on to the side skirts. The bumper is back on. It's hung. No hardware is on to attach it, but we tested all the electrical connectors, so the front signals look nice and much more modern. Got carbon fiber down here. Fitment's actually decent. Now we just gotta tighten everything down. The entire belly pan needs to get reattached in, make sure that's all torqued up, and then the front end is officially done. We did do a little bit of damage to the front end PPF, so that'll get fixed, but the whole car is going off for more PPF, paint correction, and ceramic coating, so make sure Dylan takes care of all of that. It's been a long and tiring day. Next up, wheels back on the ground, side skirts. We are officially on the ground. Put the wheels back on. We're gonna put it on jack stands in order to access the side skirts because those need to come off for carbon fiber ones, but check out the front end. All right. Only a couple more hours of struggling and anger and frustration left. Making progress. All right. So it is almost midnight on day 2 of working on this project, and we are technically giving up, but between Matt and I, we just are too physically and mentally exhausted to get the side skirts on. The fitment actually is pretty good. See them on the ground here. I'll show in a moment, or Matt, you can show it right now. Yep. So they actually match pretty nicely, but there is such little flex in it's just carbon fiber, right? It's way more stiff compared to the plastic. With the rocker panel attached to the carbon side skirt, we could not get those clips back onto the body. We've tried 3 different ways. We've looked at videos and stuff like that. Obviously, again, like we've disclosed before, Anderson Composites clearly states they require modification. They're not supposed to be just direct OEM fit, pop in. We're at our wits' end pretty much. So I consider it a success that we got the rear diffuser on, the front splitter on, updated LED signals up front, side indicators. We fixed what I messed up, the reverse light. But this is, man, we've made 5 or 6 trips to Home Depot to pick up nuts and bolts and spacers, and I bought a torque wrench, and oh my gosh. Apparently you can't really find a 7mm ratcheting wrench anywhere. It's like special order. So that was really annoying getting some of this stuff.
However, we ate like kings though.
Yes, we did. We just had deep dish pizza. My diet went out the window this weekend.
It might be because we can't bend over. That's why we can't put it in. But
you're not supposed to say that on video.
No, well, it's all good.
This piece is cool. Like, it looks awesome. It's carbon fiber. Like, set up the car would be cool. I would still like to do auto lower aero, but we're way too exhausted. If you count total amount of time, yesterday was a 9:30 a.m. until Matt left at midnight. I stayed up here until 2 in the morning working on this. Started again today at 9:30, and now it's almost midnight again. Pretty much straight.
We're physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. We've done the best we can. I'm not that handy. Matt is very handy, but doesn't have as much experience working on. Especially this is body work. This is like fabrication body work. I think this will be deferred off to a professional at some point. The plan will still be we're gonna button the car back up, put the stock side skirt back on the driver's side. Wheel wells need to go back together. The liner there. We'll torque down the wheels, and then this is going off. I will protect the two pieces up front, or the piece up front, piece out back. It definitely needs a paint correction, a little bit of PPF fixing up front too. And I gotta drive this car. Still have cash cans to install. Still need an oil change. Ah!
Welcome to working on cars, Eddie.
I don't like it. This sucked. This sucked a lot. I mean, I thought I could do it. I thought it'd be like, all right, let's bang, 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 all in. I should have known. I was talking to James about his Liberty Walk Aventador, and he goes, yeah, nothing really fits either. I was like, oh boy, I think that's my experience so far too, but thanks for suffering through this video. The parts look really cool once they're on the car. It's really hard to get them on the car. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of finagling, essentially.
They did warn us.
We've been fully warned. We had to buy fashion, we had to drill, we had to Dremel. I broke out my Dremel, did a lot of Dremeling. But I mean, I'm reasonably happy with the front bumper and the rear diffuser. It looks cool. It's good. Thanks, man. You're the champion for coming out here to help me.
No, I failed though. I said we wanted the front end, the rear, and the sides done this weekend, and we failed.
Well, no, the original thing was we'll have all of it done, no problem, end of Saturday.
Right.
Yeah, well.
Well, like I said, I failed.
No, you didn't.
I did.
This is what it is. Maybe we'll put the cash cans on tomorrow morning. That shouldn't be hard. Anyways, we're going to end this video. We're going to put everything back together, clean it up. The garage is a mess. I need the car to go out and get finished up so I can drive it. I very, very much want to drive this thing. But there it is. Part 1 of me struggle. Part 2 of us struggling also still a little bit. If you want to get Anderson Composites carbon fiber, definitely check out their website. The products look really nice for good prices. I mean, I have full replacement everything.
The carbon is really clean, really, like the weave is very nice.
Yeah.
They do a great job. It's just make sure you know what you have before you go into it, because
you're going to want to Dremel.
Yeah, if you expect it to be a perfect OEM fit, it's not going to be, and they tell you that. So go into that, you know, knowing full disclosure and try and research. The problem too is we've been looking. There is no videos on how to accurately put these pieces on the car.
Somebody probably came to this video trying to look for it, and they're not. They're going to be like, why? This was not helpful.
No. Need to name it properly.
Yeah. Well, back together, and we'll end this video. At some point, the Mustang will be driving up again to Shelby. I'll be able to take it out, and we'll let professionals take over. We did our best. Yep. Thanks for watching.